This is the men's room.
Get it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
You're listening to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Hello to our friends in Portland, Portland's Classic Rock 92.3 KGON. Also our friends up in Alaska listening every morning at 94.7 KZND Pure Rock up there. And newest affiliate, Big Dog 97.9 in Joplin, Missouri. Welcome to the program. Big show we've got for you. Drunk and Charged, Ryan Castle in the house to sit and spin. We have 10 songs turning 20 today. Ask the Men's Room is back. Profile this all coming up in our question. Based on being in a home, being in a house, what is the craziest thing that's happened to you or someone you know? And where do we leave off there in some rural area in Turkey?
We had Tim, who moved to Azerbaijan with what, your mother and your brother, I believe?
Yep.
Okay, and you guys didn't know anyone, you don't know the language, so your mom gets you guys a cat.
Yes, and this cat was an indoor cat. And long story short, after a couple months, she starts going through heat. Well, I wanted to let her outside. I figured, you know, what's the danger here? Like, she's smart. She'll come back. My mom said, no matter what, don't let her outside. If you let her out, we're not gonna let her come back in. So she escaped out my window one day because when she was going through heat, it got so bad she just couldn't handle it. So
Did she say, "Oh, meow so horny, oh, meow so horny"?
And when she came back, I tried to let her back in, and my mom's like, nope, she probably had sex out there. I am not having a litter of kittens in here. She's not coming back. So I secretly would feed her from the window because she'd come back, like, every night, and I'd, like, leave her a little bit of food. Well, after my mom found out that I was doing that, she was like, don't feed her anymore. She's going to keep coming back, and we need her to just completely forget about this house and leave. So I stopped feeding her. And another month goes by, and I'm in my room playing video games, and over the sound of my video games, I hear, like, this crazy screaming going on outside. So I look out my window, and we lived on the third floor of this building, and the building next to us was 2 floors. So from my bedroom, I could look onto their roof. And I see my cat there, and she's having sex with another cat, and that's the sounds that I was hearing. But what was funny is there were like 6, maybe 7 other dude cats. And these other cats were like in a circle around my cat, watching my cat have sex and taking turns having sex with her.
It's called a Turkish cat dance.
Yeah, like a Turkish cat dance, exactly. And they were nice enough to even, like, bring some food for her. So, like, each cat would be, like, sitting there, and, like, on the floor next to their paws, they'd have, like, something to give to my cat. Like,
to get
like
a piece of ass.
Bread or, like, some weird Turkish food, whatever it was. And, yeah, it was just really traumatizing. I never thought that I wowould see my cat turn into a prostitute.
You slut.
You got some food for me?
Yeah.
Get some of this fuzzy ass.
Tuna.
Yeah.
But,
the mistress of Azerbaijan.
I walk down the street and where you're living in Turkey. Can I go to, like, Burger King or anything?
Azerbaijan wasn't Turkey.
Living in Turkey.
Oh, whatever. All right.
He doesn't want Turkish yogurt.
Okay.
He wants Azerbaijan
Can I
yogurt.
get Wendy's? I mean,
And by the way, I actually heard your guys' show yesterday about the Turkish yogurt. It's actually pretty good, though.
I believe it is. Sure. Turkish
just-
yogurt.
I don't know, man. The name.
Like it really is. They put like
Okay.
a lot of weird stuff in it, like parsley and cilantro and a bunch of other crap, but it's pretty good.
What's the closest thing to Western civilization when you were there? Was there anything at all?
KFC.
Yeah, anything like a...
Yeah, there was a McDonald's, but the funny thing over there is like McDonald's is considered like a restaurant that you would go out to, so people literally dress up to go to McDonald's.
Okay. I do that now. I don't see what's so funny.
Dress up to go to McDonald's, huh?
Yeah.
I think people decidedly dress down. Like going to McDonald's is like going to the airport. It doesn't matter if you show up in pajama pants, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't matter.
How about the fact that just even going in and eating there?
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, look.
When's the last time you ate at McDonald's?
Normally, when I'm on the road,
Got to be on a road trip.
I have to go someplace, and I need to just stop for a minute, use the bathroom. But even half the time, then I'll just grab it in the bag and eat it in the car.
Sure.
So yeah, it takes a very special occasion to actually go and sit. Last time I did it was in an Arby's, which is great because they have so many wonderful condiments.
Ton of sauces.
Yeah, ton of sauces. You can go up and you can get as many as you want. You can be sloppy with your roast beef. You know what I mean? Like you can just get in
Easy.
with the curly fries.
My mind goes to a bad
Yeah,
place.
man. I mean, you got some.
What kind of sauce guy are you? I get a lot of sauces, I don't use a ton of it, or do you just get like 3 and use all of it?
I love their sauces. I do horsey sauce with the Arby's barbecue sauce. Just keep
Wilbur.
dipping the sandwich in there after I even put it on there.
All right.
Get some nacho cheese for my curly fries. I'm all about this.
I have a buddy that insists on getting every condiment, but he doesn't use them.
See, that's a
What
waste.
does he do?
He's a condiment
Does
waste.
he open them and then not use them?
Yeah, a couple fries.
No.
That's crap.
Yeah, that's how that. See, that's how they. That's why they're going to cut that stuff off and just start giving you packets. People like him. In the house, what's the craziest thing that happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Casey. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, guys.
Hola.
So mine comes from, first off, first-time caller. I've been listening for about 4 years now since I moved up here to Washington.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
But, mine comes from when I was still living down in Texas. I was sitting in the living room of my apartment. We lived in ghetto, duplex apartment type thing. I just finished cleaning my firearm. Had reassembled it and everything. And as soon as I let the slide out and had a round loaded in it, was going to go put it away, my front window got busted open, and I look over and I see this face peeking through at me. So I pointed at him and took off running toward the front door, chased him out in the front yard, and had him, get down on the ground, put a foot on his back to hold him there while I was calling the police. Middle of this police phone call, all of a sudden, all the, the dispatcher, all she hears is, "Oh my God, what is that smell?" Apparently this guy had gotten so scared when I came outside and held the gun in his face that he had crapped himself.
Oh.
So you got your foot on the back of a man who is defecated.
Yeah, pretty much.
What did it smell like? I mean, was it more raw than your typical, number 2?
Did it smell like adrenaline?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, because he didn't have any control over this.
Right.
A fart you have control over and it smells bad. So I'm wondering, like, if I don't have control over this and my
Right.
bowels just empty themselves, does that smell worse? It would seem like it
You
would.
know what? I would honestly say that it would have to because, I'm a guy. I'm a construction worker. I eat all sorts of stuff. I've had some bad days myself. But this was just one of those things that would... It would gag a maggot.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that's when that song,
damn.
Have a Bad Day, should just start playing randomly.
Did you
Like,
have a bad day?
So when they came and got this guy, I guess, was he wanted? Would he have a warrant or anything like that? Had he previously done other stuff? Or was he your neighbor?
No, he wasn't a neighbor. There was a bunch of break-ins going on, and I think that potentially he might have been the guy. Like I said, it was a really ghetto area, so there's break-ins all the time.
I just can't believe you can kick in the front window of somebody's home and think that's the easy way to get in a duplex area with all those homes. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe go in the back door, try a
Well, I
different way.
can't believe you'd kick in a window and then peek through the opening.
Yeah.
You've made it clear that you're not sneaking up on anybody at that point.
But the irony of having the gun out while you're reassembling it and putting one in the chamber, that was great timing.
Made a man poop.
Yeah.
I do feel like I would do that, though.
What,
if I
poop?
kicked in a window, I
Then
would look in and go, all right, now I can go in.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I feel like once you break someone, you're going in hot, man,
In the house, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA.
I'm also a poor criminal.
You've been struck by, you've been hit by a poor criminal. I put my pants in the front yard.
He gets caught all the time.
Hello, Corey. Welcome to the men's room.
Doing a nickel a dime.
Hola, bichola.
Hola.
So my story goes back about 10 years ago. I was living down in Virginia.
Virginia. What you do about Virginia? How about those people?
I was renting a room in my buddy's house, my buddy's mother's house, actually. She had a big house, and she sort of sectioned half of it off and rented it out. So it was at night after, a couple beers, but nothing crazy. I'd gone to bed, and my room happened to be right next to the kitchen. And I'm about to fall asleep, and all of a sudden I hear a whisper come from the kitchen, Corey! And so I sort of groggily wake up and try to see what's going on, and it's my buddy, my roommate. He's in there, and he says, "Hey, Corey, go get my spear." And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
He has a spear. We've
Yeah, he
had
has
people
a spear.
with battle axes. This dude's got a spear. The other guy had a gun. We're not living right, man.
Oh, there's a machete involved in the story, too.
Nice.
So anyways, so I sneak over to the door to see what's going on, and I look in the kitchen, and there's a giant raccoon on the kitchen table.
Like a fat-ass raccoon, like an urban raccoon, or like a wild, crazy out-in-the-woods raccoon?
Urban, like a big fat
Yeah,
urban
I'm
one.
waddling, living in the dumpster raccoon. Yeah,
And I'm not scared of you.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Like, I'll just eat you now, and I'm probably rabid.
We
yeah,
both know I got rabies. How do you want to do
Hissing
this?
at us. So I go and grab the spear as requested, and I grab a machete too. So I hand the spear to Jack, and he sort of just hits it hits the raccoon like it's a baseball bat, knocks it off the table, and then it runs underneath the table. And so then he uses the pointy end and sort of spears it under the table and pins it against the little sitting area next to the table. So I'm watching this happen, and Jack's, my roommate, he's a big guy, does construction, and he's got his whole weight bared against this spear under the table, and the raccoon is pushing him back. Like, I can see him moving because the raccoon and they're fighting. So
the raccoon's like, oh, no, you didn't, bitch. It's on now.
Yeah. So he's got the thing pinned, but it's not dying or it's not dead, so he's just kind of at an impasse. And so I'm like, well, I still have the machete in my hand. So I open the one of the doors to another room and give it a spot to think it has an escape. And I get ready with the machete, and I tell my roommate to just let it go. So he lets it go, and sure enough, the thing comes running out all angry and heads straight to the door. And I sort of stoop down and take the machete up underneath it, like up underneath its head and neck, and caught it pretty good and flipped it over, and then it was doing nothing but twitching.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's the story you called with, man.
You killed a raccoon with a machete in your house.
And a machete to raccoon. This is not at all what I thought I'd hear today.
Well, they took a cross, came over with a cross, and set it on fire. Our question,
Wow, man. That's different. Where did you live in Virginia that you had a raccoon in your house in the first place?
This was actually in Charlottesville, right there in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man, raccoons. They're everywhere.
I mean, that's a decent-sized town.
Yeah.
I mean, like he was out in the sticks.
We got them in our dumpster, man. They just like there's a family.
I got a raccoon. I understand.
They look like they're going to the casino to the buffet, man. There's like 5, and they just waddle around like, oh, buffet. I mean, they couldn't even. I don't even think they can climb a tree. I think they've all lived on the ground now for like the years that I've seen them. Like, I think they're just too fat.
I saw one on New Year's Eve. Whole year, good luck.
Is it really?
See a raccoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man.
In the house, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitch, hola. You have entered the men's room.
Target Charge, Riot Castle coming up. We will sit and spin today with 10 songs turning 20 years old. And our question today, talking about weird stuff that comes from the home. A man in Missouri mistaked his neighbor's house for his own, went into that home thinking it was his. When his neighbor approached him, he strangled him thinking that someone had broke into his home. Called 911 saying, there's somebody in my house. Killed the guy. Mm-hmm. He was at the wrong house.
That's rough.
We go to Miami, where a couple is arguing. Next thing you know, they've got a ninja in their apartment. A nunchuck assailant came in and basically started beating the boyfriend over the head with some nunchucks. We have the story out of California of a skydiver who landed on the roof of someone's house while they were home. I mean,
He didn't land on the roof.
He went through
smashed through the roof.
And let's not forget the fine family there in California, which I'm sure you've read about, and the bizarre nature, the family the wife basically worshipped John and Kate plus 8. And then she was also a big fan of the Duggars. Is that the other show?
Yeah, the Duggars.
Yeah. She named all of her kids with the same letter. They moved to California to try to be in some type of reality show. And the next thing you know, we find out these kids were chained, shackled, starved.
That was her deal?
Oh, that was why they were there.
Yeah.
That was her deal.
That was the reason why they were there.
All right, I haven't gone that. So I know that, right, the kids were all chained up and they were in the house, but her whole thing was getting on a reality TV show?
That is correct.
Jesus Christ.
What is the over-under? I was talking to Robin about this the other day. To me, the over-under on insanity is 8. I've known families with 8.
You mean kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it seems like you get to double-digit kids, like...
Is something wrong?
Something's amiss.
Okay, it depends on how the numbers get there. So, in other words, if you have 3 children, and then you have twins, and now you have 5 children, you're like, dude, you have 5 children. Like, I know we want one more at twins. Like, okay. But I think any more than 5, and it's like, wow, man, this is... you can't even sit at a table anywhere.
And like my buddy Bernie, his family did it kind of like in a different way. Like there's 5 of them that are much older. Sure. And then there's like a whole different set of like the three of them that were the younger ones.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it depends on just basically how you were raised, what situationally.
Yeah, but how many kids?
If you're in the middle of
more than 4 to me is insane. You know, like and I get like twins, take them out of the equation. But I'm saying like if you make the decision or agree or think it's a great idea, in my mind that is insane.
It's geographically like there's not a lot of people in New York City who have 8 kids.
Right.
There are some, but you just can't afford to live there if you have that many kids.
Oh yeah.
So like if you're in Manhattan, you probably don't have 8 kids. Now, if you live on a farm in Wyoming, you could have 8 kids. You might even be able to afford 8 kids. They might even all have their own bedroom.
Yeah, but they're working, right?
Right, exactly, because that's why you have it.
Look, no one ever said
creating my own sales force.
I grew up on a farm. They never saying we had nothing to do.
Oh, no.
It's not like my father took me to his job. Like, if you're born and raised on a farm, like, I don't envy you, man.
You were put there for a reason.
Right.
I mean, it's Thrill's quote, but it's just like, right, like with the Duggars and stuff, like, if they had that many dogs, we would think they were weird.
Right.
Yes.
Right, exactly. You're crazy. I can't. You have that many cats. You have that many dogs. They have that many kids.
Great.
Kids, man.
Yeah. In the house, what's the craziest thing that happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Jared. Welcome to the men's room.
How's it going?
Hola.
Hola. So I got a story for you. You there?
We're here.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear it.
Well, last time I called, I kept cutting out reception. So I had my buddy that I've known since kindergarten as a roommate. And he was living with me for a while. And all of a sudden he's like, hey, I'm going to go on a skiing trip with my parents. And I'm like, okay. So I come home, and all of his stuff's packed up and gone.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, cool. So my girlfriend at the time, my kid's mom, she took it upon herself and her friend. One night he's at a party, and they go to he's next door to their friend's house. They go and key his truck, like all kinds of stuff. And it was a nice Toyota truck, all jacked up, and they keyed the hell out of this truck. And so I'm like, why would you do that? It's going to come back on me. You know, no, nothing's going to happen. Well, about 8 months later, I'm laying in bed, and I had this little Volvo wagon that I traded for green stuff. And
wait a minute. You drive a car that you traded for weed?
I got a car. It was a Volvo 740 Turbo. I traded for an ounce of weed.
Okay, that's different.
For an ounce?
An ounce, yeah.
A guy gave you his car.
I'd take that deal. I'd take that deal every time.
It was in mint condition. I mean, it must have been in a garage its whole entire life.
Or he stole it.
Mm-hmm. One of the two.
One owner.
Oh, here we go again. I mean,
hey, man.
Maybe send an email.
You're not going to want to hear this, but honestly, guys.
Yeah.
Your phone broke up.
Mm-hmm,
You
sure
said
did.
the last time you called, your phone broke up.
I think this happens a lot. I don't think this is a unique experience.
No, but this
for
guy.
him? Right.
Right,
No,
his
he
phone-
knows. Every time he talks to anybody, it's going to happen. John just does.
It amazes me in this day and age. You still talk to somebody and be like, I can't be in this room in my house.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. I've had that scenario before. I've had certain carriers that I couldn't have because of that.
Yeah.
Like, it all doesn't penetrate these walls. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, if you have a laptop, dude, you got to move like 5 feet to the right. You'll be
I know
fine.
somebody that lives like miles, like 5 miles from the corporate headquarters of one of the carriers. As the carrier and can't get service in their home.
Well, that's because the towers aren't really probably close to the actual building.
I know, but it's just ridiculous. Like, you're that close to it, and you can't get service in your damn kitchen.
I'd like to text them and complain, but I can't.
Like, why are you cold? I'm in the garage.
In the house, what's the craziest thing that happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, God damn it. Hello, Brett. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola!
Hola!
What's happening?
Hello. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah, and go.
All right. So I was about 10 or 11, and me and my buddy are like, yo, let's play Army. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's do that. But we didn't have anything outside to, use as, barricades or anything. So it's like, oh, just use my bedroom window. Be fine. So we set up targets outside. We got little BB guns. We're like, we got tired of the BB guns. Like, oh, it's time to bring out the artillery. So we brought out fireworks and throwing the little smoke grenades and then we started doing bottle rockets. And then we got bored because we're 10, and let's go for a walk. And we went for a walk,
came around the block, and there's literally about 7 or 8, like, SWAT-looking dudes looking at people's windows. And,
because the 10-year-olds
like,
are pointing guns and shooting stuff out of what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the middle of the day, like, we figured no one was home. And we're like, hey, what's going on? They're like, you guys can't be here. And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, oh, some old lady, like, said that someone got shot. And we're like, no? Can we go home? I live right there. And they're like, okay, just don't come out for like an hour. And they're like, oh, okay. And, yeah, we're absolutely terrified.
Yeah, I bet you were. Yeah, when you're 10 years old, man. You don't want to get in trouble with the parents.
Oh, yeah, parents more than the cops. For sure.
In the house, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA.
I think, honestly, a firework during the day would raise more alarm to me than a firework at night.
Because at night, you just think to yourself, someone has fireworks or setting them off.
I think somebody's being an idiot just setting them off.
That's what, right. During the day, like, the hell are you firing fireworks during the day?
I don't care if you're 10, I don't care if you're 100. If you're dealing with fireworks, eventually your number's going to come up.
Maybe.
Just like me and my scratch-offs. Trust me. One of these days, I'm going to hit it.
Last place, and everyone's like, hey, man, they're illegal in city limits. Like, all right. So there's people that live down the street from you, like half a block. It's like they're challenging the cops to come arrest them. Like, we know it's illegal. These people set off more goddamn fireworks. Like, wherever you go in your city to watch the fireworks display, like, they have that many fireworks, and they blow this ass off every July 4th, all right? But the beauty is, again, they're illegal in the city. But when on trash day, when they put it out, they make it very clear that all of these empty shells, and these are huge, just monster fireworks, and it's just boxes halfway down the block, and it's all this one house. And I'm like, they really don't care.
No.
Man. They don't give a flying. Like, everyone has a few things, and they try to hide it in their trash can or put it in a plastic bag. They straight up just put it out there.
Here's a mortar.
Yeah. Fireworks people, it's like a drug. Like, I just had somebody the other day was like, I got the hookup on them. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I get this and that from this other state. And I was like,
oh, trust me. When I was growing up,
it was like, same thing. Like, I live in the middle of downtown, and it's not July.
Right, man.
My neighbor Bill Simler, man, he had an uncle. Isn't it like Uncle Larry or some crap? You know what I mean? And Uncle Larry, like, lived, I don't know, 20 miles away from where we lived. But old Uncle Larry would drive to, like, South Carolina, North Carolina, whatever it was. It was like, he would fill up his trunk and make the run every year. He wouldn't even go. Yeah. I don't even think he spent the night. I think he drove like 8-9 hours straight.
Oh, yeah.
Packed up his freaking trunk full of, artillery, and then came back with this huge, just ass-eating grin on his face, like, I'm blowing it up. You know what I mean? And that was what he was known for.
Yeah, there were a couple of people I knew that were every year, like, they made a run for the border.
At least that's how I knew him. Anyway.
Oh, sure, yeah, man.
That was his thing, man. He'd get fired up, man, and talk about almost got pulled over. You can't get pulled over. I mean, it's no different than having 5 bricks. Well, big difference, but either way, it's illegal.
Sure.
You can't move that stuff from state to state, so he would have been busted and everything else.
But they know. I mean, they know, man. Because, think about it. If you're in a state where fireworks are illegal, the one thing they do, if the neighboring states, if they're legal, they literally set up stands right on the other side of the border. Like, welcome to whatever state. And
South Carolina, right? South of the border.
It's right there. So they know goddamn well everyone's driving the crap back in.
But this guy was also the guy I don't know, there'd be an 8-month-old baby at the party, and he'd give her like a Roman candle, like, here, kid, I held my first one when I was 9 months. You're old enough. Go ahead and fire this off. You know what I mean? Like, there's no level of just anything. You know what I mean? Like, the filter has just come off this individual's brain. Like, it doesn't exist. I mean, like, bend over, I'm going to stick it in your, fire it off that way.
Fire it out your rectum.
Come on, let's do this. In the house, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Ben. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, pizzas.
Hola.
All right. So I'm going to try this whole, not swearing thing, but you got to bear with me. I've been in the Army 15 years.
Okay.
All right.
Join the effing Army.
Exactly.
For the effing experience of an effing lifetime.
Man, it's all the effing brainwashing. So a buddy of mine from Bragg, right? He ended up PCSing to Washington, D.C. While he's at Washington, D.C., he gets this nice townhome, right? This little, real narrow number, everything's real vertical, 3 stories tall. He paid a mid for it. Anyway, he goes on leave, and then right after leave, he goes on an assignment for somewhere around a month. So he's gone a little over a month. When he comes back, he opens up his garage door to find like a heap of plaster with his refrigerator sitting in it and a waterfall trickling down from his kitchen that's right above the garage. So he gets out, goes upstairs. None of the lights on the first floor work, so he gets his iPhone out. He's using the flashlight. What does he find in the kitchen? He finds a very dead, very bloated raccoon that had gotten stuck behind his fridge, chewed the electrical wires, electrocuted itself, and cut the water hose. The water had been running for like 3 or 4 weeks and collapsed his entire kitchen into his garage.
Jesus God, man.
From a raccoon.
I'm going to guess that the homeowner's insurance covered that?
Yeah, they did, but it was like one of those things where he called up the insurance company. They're like, look, man, like this is like the kind of stuff we put in commercials. We got to send an adjuster out. The adjuster called another adjuster to come out and see it just because they were like, dude, you won't believe this.
That is unbelievable. See, that should be another farmer's ad, man.
And that, you know what? And here's the thing, probably more than likely. That home and that whole deal stood there from like 1850 on until that raccoon got in that kitchen and decided to eat that cord or that pipe or whatever. I mean, those aren't new buildings.
Yeah, for the most part, sure.
They've been there for a while.
We are farmers. Raccoon chews the electrical cord and floods the garage. We've seen it.
In the house, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Joe. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Hola.
Hey, so this is about 20 years ago. We had this is the sweetest Rottweiler you could have, and we had a nice big fenced backyard, and we was gone for a day or two. We come back, doors partially opened. We come in, there's dirt all over the place. It had knocked over a planter, and this dog's laying on our couch. And it's like, how it got out of the fenced yard and how it got into our house, we have no clue. But it was like, you got to be kidding me. It's hard to be pissed off at the dog, you know.
Somehow the dog knows that. I'm too cute for him to be mad for long. Mm-hmm. How much of a mess did it make in your house?
Oh, it made a pretty good mess.
Yeah, I bet it did. I got a buddy. I'm not going to say his name because Ted knows this guy too.
Dave, Chuck,
Jay,
Gary.
But so he drops his dogs off at his sister's house. Okay, his sister's moved. It doesn't matter.
Oh, the stories I saw, man.
Yeah, man. So his sister has a coon hound, like a big old dog, man, like a bloodhound, coon hound. One of the taller ones. Bloodhounds are small, but this
Crip hound or bloodhound?
This was like a big, like it was like a huge ass beagle on stilts.
All right,
this thing is just a beast, right?
That's a bloodhound. That's a bloodhound.
What kind of dogs does he have? What are those technically called? They're not boxers. They're Boston Terriers.
Oh, okay. And he's got a brown one, which you never see.
Okay, so he's got these two dogs, and they're
mysterious.
I'm just saying it's just weird when you take out the one dog because it's brown. Mm-hmm. People just kind of, if they know Boston Terriers, they're like, it's a brown one.
But they're very sweet dogs, very nice dogs. But you know, like anything else, when dogs get hyped up in a pack and everything else, so takes his dogs off, drops them off at his sister's. I think the sister goes out with her husband for the evening or the day, or they go do something or whatever. Everybody's in the backyard together, including the goat, the pet goat.
Okay.
The pet goat, which is oftentimes hides under the RV, but for the most part, it's never had any problem with the bloodhound, whatever the hell that other dog is, but not this day. Oh no, she comes home and there's blood all over the fence. There is blood all over the inside of her house because she left the door open so the dogs can get. It looks like somebody's been murdered.
Right.
And lo and behold, these three dogs got all worked up and decided that today was the day that they were going to murder that goat.
Oh, damn.
And they slaughtered that goat, man, and they drug it everywhere they could. I mean, when she got home, there was blood all over all their faces, like that flesh hanging out of their mouths, just chewing on it like, yeah!
My theory is just the dog that lived there, when the two other dogs showed up, it was like, all right.
They whooped them up.
I've been looking at that goat forever.
Let's do this.
I hate this bitch.
Take it.
They started running circles, at me. Like, you chase him out, I'm going to take his ass down.
And they dragged the goat through the house?
Yeah.
I think that might be my favorite.
Well, dude, the deck, all over, there's blood all over this. It looked like somebody would have been murdered there, man. And that's what they came home to.
We have another friend that has some chickens. Once in a while, they get home and
how often?
Blood.
Blood everywhere.
There's blood in the chicken coop, and one's gone.
Right, exactly. Oh, no. Yeah, but to lose a goat. You know
that's a mother.
In the house, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA. More of your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Drug and Charge on the way, Bacholas. Ryan Castle in the Sit and Spin today. Shockingly, 10 songs that are 20 years old. Shocking because time goes by pretty quick, and it's been 20 years since these tunes were popular. Coming up with Sit and Spin. Our question today in this house, what's the craziest thing that happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Angela. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
All right, so back in my teen years, back when we were all still living with our folks, of course, hanging out with the Mikes, hung out with a crew of Mikes, and we're sitting in the bedroom smoking a little weed, had some real good stuff, so we were all excited, and sitting there for a while, and Mike, the idiot, he owns the home, well, it was his parents' house, sitting there flicking his lighter behind the curtain for some reason, and all of a sudden I look up and I see this tiny little brown dot kind of growing, and I was like, dude, I think your curtain's on fire. And the minute he touched that thing, man, it just burst into flames. So he grabs that thing and he tries to yank it down off the curtain rod, and of course flames, sparks are flying. Next thing you know, his dresser's on fire, desk is on fire, chair's on fire. I'm like, Mike, you got to call the fire department. No, we can get it out. I'm like, Mike, please call the fire department.
No, wait, what are
do
you doing while he's doing that? I mean, you're watching everything in his bedroom go up in flames. You just kind of sitting there being stoned going, oh, man.
Your room's on fire, man.
Oh, it gets better. So, yeah, basically. So the one Mike took off, little pansy, he took off out the door. So I finally got my wits about me, and I ran outside. Mike had opened up one of the windows, of course, which did nothing more but add oxygen to the flames. And so I run outside. Of course, he's up on the second floor, unfortunately. So I grabbed the water hose, and I'm spraying it in the window. But where the fire is at, it's in the corner where, the water's basically shooting past it to the other side of the room. But at least that side's getting wet, keeping the flames from spreading that way. So I'm sitting here spraying it in the window. And next thing, so he finally did. When I ran out to get the hose, he did pick up the phone and call the fire department, thank God. So I kept running outside, get the hose. Next thing I know, he's back in the bedroom, and he's fighting himself to the window. He comes through the smoke and the water I'm spraying through, and he finally leans out the window. He goes, give me the hose. So in my stoned state, of course, not thinking right, I, try to hand it up to him hand over hand with this thing. It gets about 2 feet above my head and turns into a water wiggle worm thing, so water goes spraying everywhere. Start laughing, and I'm like, okay, this isn't the time to laugh. So I finally gathered my wits about me, shut the water off.
This isn't the time to laugh. I'm glad some part of you told you that.
Oh, my God. Well, part of me was, flames flaming out the window kind of brought me to my senses, kind of with a buzzkill. And so I coiled up the hose, got it tossed up to him. Thankfully, he caught it on the first toss. And he did get most of the fire out. But, of course, the fire department does show up. They do more damage than what we had done. I mean, we've done a pretty good amount of damage, but, of course, then they're dragging hoses in the water. I mean, they're making a mess in there bigger than we already. They come carrying out his dresser, and the thing's still got all the red embers up underneath the thing, so they're blowing that. But the funniest thing is the first thing that we did was like, save the weed, save the weed. So he grabs it, and he runs across the hall. He runs it across the hall into his parents' bedroom, and he crams it up under their bed, thinking, okay, it's safe over there, blah, blah. So we concoct this story right off the gate because we knew the fire department was coming. We know we're busted, so we come up with this crazy story. Of course, they come in, they listen to the story like, well, it didn't look like an electrical fire. We stick with our story. We're not changing anything. So they hung out for quite a while and taking our statements and whatnot, and they're in that room on their hands and knees. I mean, they're looking for anything they can find. Finally, after a couple hours, they take off. First thing we do is we go walk into that bedroom, get the weed out of his parents' room, get that hidden. We walk into that bedroom, and I mean, everything is drenched at this point, but look down in the garbage can, and there was this big old fat bud just sitting there right on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
We're high-fiving it, going, hey, we might have burnt the house down, but we saved the weed. And, yeah, it was not good. So about 10 minutes after the fire department left, his dad comes walking in the front door, and I left, and let's just say...
Never saw Mike again.
Well, we did, but let's just say he was sporting a black eye.
Oh no, his dad beat his ass?
Dad beat his ass, yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
But the one good thing that came out of it, he ended up with a new bedroom in the basement, and we had much more privacy down there, cement walls, so we couldn't burn anything else.
And a new dresser.
Bravo. And there's the silver lining.
And that's how kids move to the basement.
Jesus Christ.
Silver lining.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. In the house at home, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you or someone you know? 844-999-OLA. Still to come, the return of Ask the Men's Room and the drunken charge Ryan Castle's into Sit and Spin. Today, shockingly, 10 songs that are turning 20 years old. That is all on the way.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.